Lopez wants it away. And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza and the Mets lead 3-2. Bartolo has done it! The impossible has happened! This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mets fans of all ages, here is your host, Nick Durst. Hello, Mets fans. Welcome back to another edition of Bleav in the Mets. I'm your host, Nick Durst. Thank you for joining and watching or listening. If you haven't already done so, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you never, ever miss an episode. And spring training is underway. It should be an exciting time. I've been saying all along, I'm not excited. I think this roster is very good. And I've been saying the pitching staff is going to be a problem as well as the offense. Well, the pitching staff's really getting an issue. Kodai Senga, he's injured. Not good. The day before, Carlos Mendoza goes on a hot stove and says, oh, well, we're hearing, it's not too bad. Everything, indications are it's minor. Anytime you hear that, the players on the IL, they're out for half the season. 3 years in a row now, the big spring training injury. 2 years ago, Jacob deGrom, he was out until after the All-Star break. Last year, it was Justin Verlander. He was out for a few months. And Jose Quintana. These injuries derail the season. Now, with Kodai Senga out, I want to be very clear about this. With Kodai Senga out, the season is over. Don't even bother watching. There's literally no chance this team is going to win a World Series. No chance. The season is over. Without Kodai Senga, they have absolutely no shot to be competitive this year. Kodai Senga, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. He was supposed to be the ace. He pitched like an ace last year, but there's just nothing around him on this roster, pitching-wise, that is going to help this team win. This is going to be really rough. It's going to be a rough season. This is the least excited I've been for a Mets season, probably my whole lifetime. The writing is on the wall. This team is going to be terrific. It's not going to be terrific. They're going to be awful. Losing Kodai Senga is a mega loss. Now you have a bunch of guys coming off career worst years in the rotation. Opening day. Who pitches opening day? Do you go with Jose Quintana? Was that about 10 starts? Are you going to go Luis Severino? I hope not. Sean Manaea? I hope not. Adrian Hauser? I hope not. You're going to go with Jose Budo, Joey Lucchesi, Tyler Miguel. Who's going to make the rotation as that fifth guy? Well, these other pitchers get injured. This has all the makings to potentially be the worst Mets starting rotation in my lifetime. So we're talking a long time here. I can't see how this starting rotation is good enough for the Mets to win games. Do you really think the Mets are going to win the World Series this year if you're a Mets fan? I don't care how optimistic you usually are. Look at this roster. First-time manager who's coming over as a bench coach from the Yankees who just had their worst season in 30 years. You have all these starting pitchers who have horrible ERAs last year. Same thing for the bullpen. You have a whole offense that is lacking power and a lot of guys with injuries and ifs. I don't want to watch this season. I am not happy with the roster, not happy with the choice of manager. We're in for a long rebuild, folks, as Mets fans. They're not going to be good this year. So they're going to be dealing some parts. You have to hope that maybe at least one of Severino, Manaea, and Hauser are decent enough so you can trade them and get somebody in return for the future. And I think David Stearns is going to be trading whoever he could trade. Okay, and that includes Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso, I really am leaning right now 60-40 that he's not a Met next year. The reason why I'm saying that is because I think they're going to be really bad this year in the first half. He's going to be very good. There's going to be a lot of demands for him. And I think David Stern sees no attachment to any of these players except Adrian Hauser, who he had in Milwaukee and brought over. He will trade Pete Alonso, and he'll get what he can get. But people always say, trade him, and then you could re-sign him, bring him back next year. That happened once in the history of the game, in my memory, which is Aroldis Chapman. That is not going to be happening, I think. I think Pete Alonso, he will not be happy if he's traded. He's probably going to go somewhere that's playing for playoffs, and he's going to he wants to win. The guy wants to win. So I think if he's traded, he's not coming back to the Mets next season. And that would be like career suicide, PR-wise, for David Stearns to trade Pete Alonso and then not to have him back. Not to mention it's going to hurt the team a lot because you can't replace 40 home runs and 120 RBI with anybody on this roster, let alone many people in Major League Baseball. And people say, if you lose Alonso, we'll sign Soto. Why would Juan Soto, or any free agent for that matter, want to come to the New York Mets? Don't these guys want to win? We just saw it happen this offseason when the money's the same between the Dodgers and the Mets with the Almodo. They picked the Dodgers. Picked the Dodgers. Why? Because the players want to win. The Mets have nothing going for them right now in terms of saying we're going to be able to win 2024 or 2025, 2026. They don't have the young players that are superstars. They have Alvarez, who had a good first year. He's got to get his average up. But does Juan Soto want to come in here and say, I really want to play around Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty? Is that going to excite him? Joining a team of guys who bat .212 for the season and don't play good defense? I just don't understand why Mets fans are thinking that all these big-time free agents are going to come to the Mets next year. One, we have to see if the Mets are willing to spend. Okay? That's the first thing. Number two, it would be great to add Corbin Burns. He might re-sign with the Orioles or a Zach Wheeler. They need a lot of pitchers next year for sure. And you mentioned Juan Soto's a free agent, but there's nothing to show me right now that, based on the Mets' history here, that they're going to go after the big free agent. They did not go after Ohtani this year. They did not go after Judge last year. So who's this big position player they're trying to get? I think they're probably closer to blowing it all up this year and going into a long-haul rebuild than they are competing this year and then luring big free agents here next year and making the playoffs. I just don't see it happening. Now, the big free agent signing this year offensively was Harrison Bader. So a lot of talk about, Brandon Nimmo, his willingness to move to left field. He's all about the team. He's willing with left field. Why? And they're asking him on Hot Stove, why is this a topic of discussion about why was Brandon Nimmo willing to move to left field? Last I checked, he's not the coach. He's not the manager. He's not the GM. He has no say in his position. So was he consulted at all before the Mets signed Harrison Bader? I don't think so. Why would he be? He's signed to a contract for 7 more years. He's going to have to go out there and play the position he's told, that he's penciled in the lineup card. So all this talk about, Brandon Nimmo's willingness to move to left field for the good of the team. He had no choice. What was he going to do? Sit out? Strike? Not collect his paycheck? Not come to the ballpark because he's playing left field? This is just killing me. This Mets chatter in spring training. I'm so sick of talking about Pete Alonso contract extension. Why don't we start talking about Pete Alonso potentially being traded? And I'm so sick of talking about Brandon Nimmo's willingness to play left field. Yeah, he's going to play left field. Harrison Bader is going to play center field. Nimmo had no say in the matter. And Bader, he'll probably get hurt like he always does. And Nimmo will be in center field plenty of the time. This Mets season, folks, it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a very, very rough season. And I am not looking forward to it. Are you looking forward to it? Do you think the Mets are going to be good this year? Do you have high expectations for them? Please let me know. Leave me a comment in the comments section on our YouTube feed, or you can send us a tweet at Bleav in the Mets, BLEAVINTHEMETS. That's Bleav in the Mets. Make sure you're also following us on all social media platforms so that way you are never missing an episode. Bleav in the Mets. Everywhere you go, everywhere you look, Bleav in the Mets. That's where you want to be. That's where it's got to be. And that is exactly where you're going to find all of our content. Okay. So any past shows, any new shows, follow Bleav in the Mets, all platforms, especially YouTube. And I am on X as well at Nick_Durst and on Instagram at Nick's Food and Stuff. Everybody, this is going to do it for this episode of Bleav in the Mets. We have to hope for no more spring training injuries, which will eventually happen. Kodai Senga, I think he's probably out till at least June. Heard this story before. We even going back to the Zach Wheeler days. Oh, it's minor. Half the season. Justin Verlander, he's out for 2 months. Jacob deGrom, he's out for 4 months. So same old tune. There's something in the water down at Port St. Lucie, and it's not good for the New York Mets. All right, everybody. Let's just somehow, some way, hope for the best. And let's go, Mets.